Welcome to Problem Solving and Programming Techniques. As the name implies, we'll be learning how to write programs and use those programming skills to solve problems. In today's video, we're going to take a look at some housekeeping things. We'll discuss course goals or objectives. We're going to define what programming is, take a look at the textbook, and discuss how to get Python onto your computer. Python's a standard language that we use to teach new programmers because it doesn't require a lot of fancy techniques to get started. You just start writing code. It has some features that are going to help us develop good habits. We'll get our code lined up to where it's easy to read, but it still has a lot of power to it as well. So it is the language that we can use with everyday problems. As you can see in the first point, we're going to be writing console programs. This means our programs are going to be running a command line. We're not going to be doing things with Windows. We're not going to be doing web development techniques. This is just communicating with the user through the command line. So as you can see, we're going to communicate. We're going to make statements to the user in command line. And then we're going to be able to ask questions and get input back. And in between what we're telling the user and what we're asking the user to tell us, we can start making decisions using true-false logic. And that's going to change the way that our program works in the background. And the main goal of writing Python code is so that we can have something that we can reuse. So we're going to talk about how to write code in a good format so that we can use it again. And we're also going to learn, and this is the main goal of the entire course, we're going to learn how to analyze code. We're going to learn how to test what we write and how to troubleshoot our program. There's a little secret in software development. It never works right the first time. You're going to write programs and they're going to throw errors. They're not going to do what you expect it to do. This is perfectly normal. There are people that make a lot of money working for big companies that their code still breaks when they run it. But what's important is to know how to troubleshoot it, how to fix those issues, how to write tests so that we can make sure that it does what we want it to do. And those things, it doesn't matter what language you're working in, you're going to have to troubleshoot the program that you write in that language. You're going to have to learn how to write tests, and you're going to have to learn how to analyze it for efficiency. So these techniques are going to translate across any language that you program in. One of the first things we have to do is figure out what is programming. So definition we have is programming is the process of creating instructions that a computer can follow. So if I were to tell a friend of mine how to get to my house from the school, I would give them step-by-step directions. Go on this road, take a left here, take a right there. I might give landmarks. In the same way, we have to give step-by-step directions to Python. I have to make sure that what I communicate to my friend, I communicate in a way that he would understand. In the same way, when I'm communicating with Python, I have to communicate in a way that Python would understand. So I use the Python programming language. And then we have to talk about the purpose of programming. It says here to automate tasks, solve problems. So computers are great at some things. One of the things that computers are great at is following directions. I can give it a very specific list of things to do, tell it go do these things, and it does those things, and typically it does those things very quickly. So that's what we're trying to take advantage of. So we're going to write our programs in Python using the Python programming language, and then we're going to execute that using the Python program that we are going to install on our computers. Now, if you already have a Mac, you probably already have Python installed on there. Windows computers, we're going to have to install it, and then we'll be able to use Python to run our program. Our textbook for this class is going to be Automate the Boring Stuff with Python, second edition. You can find it for free online at automatetheboringstuff.com. You can also just use Google. It's the first thing that pops up for me. If you're one of these people that likes physical copy of the book, I have seen these for sale at my local bookstore, and of course you can also get them online. So either one will work. The online version, it splits it to where each chapter has its own web page, so it's easy to navigate chapter by chapter. And we're only going to use the first 6 chapters of this book. Like I said before, for our Windows people, we're going to have to download and install Python on our computer so that we can run our Python program. You can get that at python.org. The web page that has the downloads is going to look similar to the picture in the slide. The important thing to see is it says download Python 3.13.1. That's the current latest version. If you look above it, it says download the latest version for Windows. Whatever comes up there, that's the version you want. So don't stress over 3.13.1 and try to go find it. Just take that latest version and download that, run the file that it gives you on your computer, and that will install Python on your machine. If it asks you anything about path, yes, allow it to add it to the path. If it doesn't ask, don't worry about it. There are instructions in the textbook as well, but this is really just a download, run it, and it's good to go. And in the next slide, we're going to talk about how to confirm that you have Python on your computer and that you have the right version. In order to confirm that we have Python installed and that we have the right version of Python, we're going to go to command line. So you can go to the search bar in your taskbar and type in CMD. If you're on a Mac or a Linux machine, it's going to be terminal. You can also run this in PowerShell on Windows, but we're going to open up some type of command line and we're going to just type in Python and hit enter. So that runs the Python executable file that we're going to be using later on. And running it by itself like this, it's just going to tell you what version you're running, and then it's going to put you into interactive Python. Some computers already have Python 2 installed on the computer. It's the previous version. Python 3 is the new one. So if you run Python and it comes up and the first number in the version is a 2, then you want to use the exit command to get out of Python and then run Python 3, and that will probably solve your problem. So both of these are going to put you into what we call interactive Python. And that is looking for Python commands. So we're going to have to use exit in order to leave that, or you can just close out the terminal window. But if you type exit, make sure you put those parentheses on the back of it because those are important for Python. We'll talk about it later. For now, just trust me. If you're trying to get out of it, exit with parentheses, hit enter. You'll be good to go.